Hello, welcome back. I hope you all are doing so well. There's a strange thing going on with the camera. I have no idea why it's doing this today, but whatever. So there's a bit of a message coming in here, so hopefully we can get this out. And it seems to be around overthinking, feeling stuck, not able to make a decision, and yet the funny thing is trying to make a decision, and yet if I were to say, what are you trying to decide between, it's almost as if you haven't quite laid out the opposite sides of this, right? It's almost like feeling paralyzed or just feeling completely stuck. This is the thing I think that's being missed. There is a decision that needs to be made, and yet the energy that you seem to be in or what you're experiencing is more a sense of feeling stuck and like you can't move on or you can't get away from something, or that you're just kind of spinning your wheels. So the message is there's a decision that actually needs to be made, and the reason you're not necessarily seeing what perhaps options to take or which direction to go is because you're actually kind of stuck in your head and you are rolling around all kinds of things. Part of it has to do with the past, not wanting to go back into the past. The other part of it seems like this just feels like an impasse. I have no idea what to do with this. I don't know how to get past where I am right now. So there's a sense of I need to decide or I feel stuck, and yet what you're really in right now is this feeling of I don't want to go back into the past, but I don't know how to get past this or how to do it differently. And the message is truly that you can move through this. It is about figuring out what needs to be done differently. So there is always a solution. Again, this came through in the last message, right? When we are coming from our heart space, when we are coming from a place of pure integrity, when we are coming from a place where we are deeply connecting to our own energy, through our intuition, we're coming from our soul's space. We cannot make a wrong decision. We can make a decision and we may have to change it or we may have to do something a bit differently, right? But the most important thing to realize is that you have to take the step. You have to make a choice. Any choice is better than no choice whatsoever. And yet in this situation, it seems like you're not even in the field where you realize what the choice is, or this choice versus that choice is the direction to go, because you're only stuck in rolling through things, which is I don't like the past, I can't go back there, and I don't know how to move in a different way with this. It feels like I'm at an impasse. And so right now the energy that your body is in feels stuck. What needs to happen is that you need to recognize that there are options, there are choices. And maybe the step is just realizing that that is the truth. And now you can say, okay, what can I find that will help me move forward in a different way with this particular situation that I am in? Because it feels like you really need to step over this threshold here where you feel stuck. It's to know that there are options and choices in this particular situation that will change the situation itself. And that once you recognize that, now you can say, okay, I need to look for things that can help this particular situation go in a different direction. It's almost like you're over here in some way knowing it can't be what it is, not realizing it can be a different way. And that's really what you want to start to focus on, because as you open up to that, so whenever we make a choice or we open up to something new coming in, the universe will respond, God will respond, the spirit will respond, our soul, then our nervous system will also be open to new information that we just really physically even couldn't see or perceive before. So when you know now that, okay, this situation, yes, we need to do something different. What can we do differently now in this particular context? Whether it's a job, whether it's a child that you're dealing with, right? Whether it's a relationship, it can change, it will change. You need to find some different tools to help it along, right? So there is, yeah, I mean, feeling stuck in this and contemplating, but what you're doing is contemplating the stuckness. Okay. Yeah, it's like this sense of, I don't know how to describe this. The body is experiencing this feeling. It's almost like you think that you are in the process of trying to make a choice, but what's really happening is your body is experiencing this energy of, if I go over here, it's just going to be more of a storm. If I go over here, there's nowhere to go. And it feels like maybe you're not really even aware of this. It's like in your mind, there almost seems to be a disconnect between what you're actually feeling, which is really curious, but it's reiterating the same thing over here. Yeah, the past is stormy. You don't want to go back to the past. And this situation is not asking you to go back to the past. That's really the key too. The situation, by choosing to continue to figure this out, you are not being asked to go back into the storm or the negativity or whatever the experience was in this situation, right? You're being asked to find a different way through this same situation. A different practice is needed, is what it sounds like. A different kind of fundamental foundation. Because the other end of where you're in right now feeling stuck is that there is nowhere else to go. This is unfixable. There is no changing this. And that's not true. That's just simply not true. So let's see where is that coming from? This belief that either I have to be in a storm or I have nothing. I'm always going to be without my dreams. I won't be able to live out my dreams. If I want this thing, if I want this situation, if I want to be in this arrangement or this agreement, or yeah, there's a feeling of really backing away from this. And that's really the issue. It's you're perceiving it as though you don't have a solution, as though there is no way that this can be fixed. And it's not that at all. It's that you are so far unwilling to engage in the situation. Again, there's a feeling of this threshold that you need to step over. The way that you step over it is to realize there are solutions and answers. You just have to find them. It's not going to be the same questions you've been asking. You need to ask different questions. And knowing that the situation can change and can be fixed, can you figure out what kinds of different questions to ask then from that perspective? Yeah, actually, you can figure this out. And I am getting that it really is important to ask different questions. Even if you journal this out, right, and go from this perspective of, okay, how do I normally think about this, and write that out? And then, okay, how can I think about this differently? Or how can I look at what I've written? If I was looking at this from maybe a perspective of a friend who's dealing with the situation, or even just asking these questions, it's like, how can I ask questions that are more constructive, more detailed, more nuanced, in a way that I can kind of get in between this place where I'm stuck right now? Because it really is saying that you can find the answers. In fact, you do have the answers within you. But the caveat to that is that it's not so much that you have the solution. you have the answer in the sense that when you ask the right question about this situation, you will feel the shift. And then you will know what direction to go towards. But yeah, there's a fear of not being able to trust yourself. Actually, this is really what you're feeling over here. This sense of not wanting to go back into the past, not wanting to go back into the storm. What's really happening is that you are afraid to trust your heart, your gut, your intuition to move forward on this thing. And what's blocking you from trusting what you are truly feeling as a yes, or a this needs to move forward, or I need to focus here and I need to take care of this thing, is that it's everything probably in your past, or let's put it this way, it's the way that you have navigated your reality in the past that maybe worked for you or got what you needed. It's like that system that you have, again, this kind of came up in the last reading, I think. It's the system by which you have been making decisions in the past that isn't serving you anymore. And that's really what you're feeling. Because it feels like this situation, as you're looking at it, it's like, well, there's all kinds of red flags here, right? Or there's all kinds of logical reasons why I shouldn't continue to pursue this, or why I should not make an effort to fix this or change this or find a solution for this, right? Because logically, when we look at it, and if I stack up all this data and this information and maybe even things that people are telling me, it's saying no. Like, how could this possibly change? And what you're leaving out of it is really the fact that, well, there are solutions to everything. And when we ask, there's always this saying that I love. It's like, you only have to go a quarter of the way, right? You just have to take the step. You go a quarter of the way and spirit will come in the rest of the way, right? The rest of the 75%, it takes care of. The hardest part, though, that initial step of saying, yes, I'm going to do this, and then we'll figure it all out. That is the piece that needs to be taken. But yet in your mind, it's really causing this chaos, because it's like, but I've tried this before 100 times and it hasn't worked. What might actually change? Well, it goes to even your old patterns that you've been, you really get this sense of like walking, showing up as the same person in the same way every day, saying the exact same thing, having the same exact response to things, right? You need new data, you need new input, you need new tools. And really, I mean, this is what, we're growing, we're evolving, right? And so this is standard. It's almost within you, there's a sense of, I shouldn't have to do that because it should just work. We should just be able to figure this out. I should just be able to figure this out. If it's supposed to work, it should just work. And that's not true, because whatever you're dealing with is expanding also. It's needing to open up and grow and evolve as well. And perhaps you're even needing to bring in that different perspective, right? You need to bring growth into this thing where it has been so stagnant and just kind of looping and spinning in the same way. Yes. Okay. So you do have the solution. You have it. Is there some regret and some remorse? Is this a piece that you... Because if you've been going around in circles with this thing, and then you step into it once more from a different perspective, is there now a bit of remorse that you're feeling that, okay, it was me the whole time, or I did have the answer the whole time? And is it, I don't want to say like ego, but is there... It's coming through as like ego and stubbornness, but I would say almost maybe blind to even the idea that it could change based on me changing my approach to it. But that could be, I could feel where once you step into this and see that there could be a bit of like wanting to maybe judge yourself about that. I feel like that's a piece here of like, does this involve another person or something where you feel like maybe, why do you feel like you're having to do the big step over the threshold here, right? Feeling like you're the one who maybe is putting in all the effort or taking the responsibility to change this thing. I actually don't think that's the case. I feel like there's a shift in perspective from your side that needs to happen, and then the rest of everything will like fit. It'll be like the lock and the key, and the whole thing will just start spinning. So it's not, yeah, there's this weird underlying thing of like, you're almost, I don't know if you're already judging yourself or questioning yourself or something. It's almost like it feels like behind that door though, if I open that door up, there's going to be a floodgate of like remorse and shame and guilt, and I'm going to feel bad about myself for this. And yet I don't even get that sense from the other side of this thing, that would be how you're either perceived, or that anyone or anything would even think to point the finger or blame you or say you didn't try hard enough before, like, you know, kind of have any kind of negativity towards this. Yeah. Make the commitment and make it in yourself first. And once you do that, once you fully commit that you are going to step into this, see, I get that it's a stepping energetically from your heart, stepping into it, saying yes to it for yourself from your side of this, and then stepping over the threshold happens. It's almost like, I wonder if there's a fear of committing, like saying yes to it, and then like, but I don't have the answers and I don't know how to do this, and then feeling like you're flailing. And yet, what's the difference here? I get the sense you really want to actually commit to this. You want to commit to it. You truly do, from your heart, from everything in your body is telling you this. There's something has been initiated, or you're trying to initiate something or something like this. You truly do want to commit to this. What is keeping you from being able to see a way through this is not understanding that there's a different way to do this. It's almost as if, well, it's this thing, right? It's this particular job or this situation, and so it has to be in this particular kind of container, and it has to be like this, right? I don't know how to have it be this and yet be something different within this. It really does feel like you just have to understand that there is a solution here, and you need to ask different questions. You need to find some new input for yourself. But absolutely, you are not going to be blamed. I don't even get the sense of rejection. It's almost like rejection is not even, you know, this thing not happening is not even a question. And maybe that's the other challenging part too. It's like there's a part of you that knows that this is supposed to be. There's a part of you that knows this is a yes, you know, and so there's all this madness inside of like, I can't take what I know and put it anywhere, because if I look at it, like, look at this mess that's going on right here. And it's really trusting and putting your heart out there first, putting your heart through this first. Because I get this, like, you know, there is the sense of needing to walk through this doorway or step over this threshold, but I get that you put your heart there first. Put your heart there first. That's going to pull the rest of you through. And then from that perspective, looking back out in conjunction with whatever this situation is, joining here, meeting on the other side of this by saying, okay, this can happen. We can do this. We have to find a different way, or we have to ask different questions. It's really coming through as asking different questions to unlock some things in this situation over here. So Oh, that's a huge part of it, right? It's feeling like you're going to be alone over here once you step in, and you're not going to be. You're going to be met. This whole thing is going to turn around with you to look out and say, how can this be done different? How do we ask different questions? What questions have we even been asking? Like, maybe it's that too, right? We've kind of just been stuck in this thing that's going round and round and round, and we don't even know why we're going round and round. We don't know what is happening in here. You're going to be met with a much less resistance than you are anticipating. It's going to be much more clear than what you are feeling right now. And you're feeling right now like you have to figure it out all on your own. And I totally understand why you're feeling that way. And yet, once again, you step over and step through, that's just going to fall away. That's because that's only as far as you can see right now. Once you step through this and step over this, you have no idea what's going to happen. And so that's as far as you can anticipate. That's it. Like, that's the end of the storyline that you can write on your own. The rest of it is written from inside of this, looking back out now. And I almost get this sense of like, yes, turning around, looking back out this way, but it's going to come full circle. So maybe looking into the past in order to figure out what questions you have been asking or not asking, and then what different questions you need to ask, or how do you ask those questions differently in order that you come full circle now and move forward from that place. And I get this feeling of moving forward together, moving forward in conjunction with this thing now in a totally different way. And there is this looking back that needs to occur. You do have to look back. And maybe like I'm getting almost like going into the shadow, or going into this kind of like, there's like a shadow that falls over, right? And maybe blocks out the sun for a little bit. But that part is important. You have to go all the way around in order to come full circle into a different way of being in this together, moving forward. Okay, I think that is the message. I hope that was helpful. Yes. And it's going to take you to heights that you never could have even imagined. Not feeling tied down anymore, not feeling tethered. And that feels like to be a part of the issue too, right? Going back into this, will I continue to feel stuck and tied down? And you absolutely will not. Again, it may take some turning around, looking backwards for a bit before it starts to feel like it's actually moving forward, but it will. So, wow. Okay. That's really beautiful. Take the step in two ways. Step through with your heart, and then step through physically over that threshold. And it's going to be wonderful. I hope that was helpful. I wish you so much love. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take good care.